when looking at all these results, you can't be exactly surprised at the guys that have landed on those lists for Iowa. Jay Higgins among the leaders. If believe he leads the country in tackles in Power 5 football, almost FBS. He's right there with a couple group of 5 guys. He may very well end the year with, I think, 100, close to 170 tackles, if not at 170 tackles, which is unreal. I mean, Jack Campbell never did that at Iowa, and he's largely considered one of the best Hawkeyes ever, even just a year removed from his tenure in Iowa City. And then you look at Tory Taylor, who just won the Ray Guy Award for the best punter in the country. He's obviously got to be in there as well. And finally won the Ray Guy Award. He's been the best punter in the country, whether he's from this country or not, coming from down under, of course. But phenomenal season, regularly kicking the ball over 50 yards and placing it well. On top of that, it's not just booming kicks. He's excellent at placing the ball. Special teams, though it didn't exactly favor Iowa in the Big Ten championship with that big return. I think that was in the first or second quarter. I think it was the first quarter. Just continually a guy that is going to do his job when he heads out on the field. And he received a standing ovation on senior day and the Joe Burrow treatment for a reason. For those of you who haven't seen the video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it. But then you look at a guy like Cooper DeJean, who did so much on both the defensive side of the ball and on special teams in terms of returns on punts, and very well probably should have been considered for more, including that Minnesota return for a touchdown. And then you can't forget Sebastian Castro, who was just named third team All-America today as well in the AP. But Cooper and Tory and Jay very much getting close to that consensus All-American, or they are essentially at that consensus All-American. And now Cooper and Tory en route to being unanimous All-Americans, first team All-Americans. So that says a lot about your football program. I mean, a kid coming over from Australia who nobody knew of before, Cooper, who's a kid from OABCIG High School in Northwest Iowa, only one FBS offer in coming from Iowa. And then Jay Higgins, who didn't play until this year in his career at Iowa. I believe Iowa was his only FBS offer. And then Sebastian Castro, if I'm not mistaken, very similar to, if not the exact same situation as Jay Higgins, although he did come from a different, I believe he's from Michigan. He's from Michigan or Illinois. I'd have to look that up. But it just continues to speak to the development of the Iowa football program, right? Like, this isn't stuff where they're signing the 4 and 5 stars and they're coming in and making an impact right away. Cooper DeJean was a high 3-star for us at Rivals, but generally those guys who get those high 3 stars don't end up as first team All-Americans, right? Like, he put that together. The staff put that together. And you could say the same thing about Jay Higgins, too. Nobody saw this happening with Jay Higgins coming out of high school. His first offer was Ball State. And nothing against Ball State, but like, Cooper's first offer, I believe that he reported, was the University of Northern Iowa. Now, that's typically a great FCS program, but they're not producing guys like Cooper DeJean on a regular basis. So University of Iowa just continues to pump out these guys and develop these guys into being, well, Cooper's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick, whether he decides to stay or go.
Yeah, and with football having the least number of games played, I've got a bit of a theory with All-America teams and with a lot of these awards that there is a lot of reputation built into it to start the season that has to be overcome, especially with linemen, because no statistics. And if a guy's got a reputation or doesn't have a reputation, they've got a lot to overcome. Now, of course, Tory Taylor, all these guys earned it. So I'm in no way am I stating that by any stretch. And if anything, I remember Corey and I had the conversation when Jay Higgins was selected to go to Big Ten Media Days, that this is a strong, strong indication of what Kirk Ferentz believes Jay Higgins is going to do this year. And he must really have made an impact. And he's ticketed for a big season, it appears. And that certainly was an understatement, that in particular. So there is that. So yeah, Jay Higgins in particular, just kind of overcoming, having to make a name for himself and to make it to that degree is pretty exceptional.
What I'll add to on the Jay Higgins conversation, the fact that he was not a finalist for the Butkus Award is an absolute travesty, and I think it speaks to what you're just saying there. Yeah, travesty. Oh, okay, maybe a little hyperbolic, like maybe being a little too dramatic there, but like led the country in tackles in his first year starting at middle linebacker at Iowa, and you're leaving him off the Butkus Award finalists. Come on. That's nothing more than stereotyping a guy from Iowa who went out there and clearly did his job and clearly did it at an incredibly high level in his first year starting. That was ridiculous. Let's focus on the positive, right? Him being an All-American, almost consensus All-American, working on it, but yeah, Jay was phenomenal this year in just about every way. I mean, stepping into that leadership role as well, like he told the media it was his defense. It was the way he was constructing things at that Mike linebacker spot for Iowa. And he took Nick Jackson. I don't know if under his wing is the right way to phrase it, but he took him in right away. Those two guys playing the Mike and the Will. And Nick came in as a transfer from Virginia and was the most valuable transfer on the roster by the end of the season. Nick was phenomenal, especially considering that everything was new to him going into the year. But and you have to give some credit to Jay Higgins there for sure.
Folks, we got Elliot Clough here breaking down Iowa football for us. You can join Elliot at Iowa Rivals. What's the best way to find that? Obviously, if people Google it, they're going to be able to go right to it. But any other plugs you want to chip in with here?
Sure. If you want to check out stuff on our site, it's just iowa.rivals.com. Super easy to find. You got stuff from myself, our publisher, Adam Jacoby, managing editor, Ross Binder there as well. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Elliot Clough. You'll find links to just about everything there. We've got our podcast, Hawkcast, that we put up 2 times a week. That's up on, well, it should be published here momentarily on YouTube as well. But we don't go from here. Wait till this is over. That's all I'm saying. And then tomorrow we post as a podcast, and that'll be on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, all those places. And but you can find all the links to my Twitter. It's just right there as you see it at Elliot Clough, 1L1T, CLOUGH, rough tough Clough.
Oh, that's how we remember that. Very nice.
Yes. Okay. It's in my Twitter bio. It's Clough, like rough and tough.